Good evening, and hello. I'm back doing my live at fives. So I've relocated to Wales. I'm in South Wales at the moment. So I've moved from Buckinghamshire, and I am now in South Wales. And so, yeah, over the summer, it's been a bit of a bonkers time, but hopefully going to be getting back into some sort of routine again now. And for those of you who are in South Wales, I will be doing face-to-face classes in the near future. I'm looking at venues at the moment. I am still continuing with my online courses at the moment. So at the moment I have got online courses, so you can sign up for those. But keep an eye out for my new venue in South Wales. I'm just outside Carmarthen at the moment, so looking for places around this area. So live at 5 this week, I was asked for books, which is just really exciting because I love talking about books anyway. The question was, a first time mum, I'm pregnant, what books do you recommend? Because there are just so many out there, and yes, there are thousands of books now. And actually I could spend the next week talking about the books that I absolutely love to do with pregnancy, labour, birth and parenthood as well. But I thought I'd just cherry pick some of my absolute favourites. It can be a minefield looking for books, but the key thing that you want to do is try and find books that are going to give you information so that you can make choices that are right for you. So rather than looking for books that tell you what you should or shouldn't do, or what you should and shouldn't expect, have a look at books that are going to give you choices and options and information, and where possible back it up with information, perhaps evidence-based information as well, so that it is giving you food for thought, so that you can make choices that are right for you around your pregnancy, your labour, your birth, because we're all different, and every one of us is going to experience pregnancy in our own way, and labour and birth. And so even if you've got maybe a celebrity that you know resonates with you and you really love them, their experience might not necessarily be your experience. So that's my top tip. All of the books that I'm going to share with you today are books that have got lots of information for you as parents, to be, as pregnant people, pregnant women and your partners. So the first book that I am going to share as a KGH teacher, KG Hypnobirthing teacher, of course, the Hypnobirthing book. So Katharine's book about pregnancy, labour and birth, your choices, your options. It's got the hypnobirthing techniques in there as well. Lots and lots of food for thought. So a fantastic book for you. It's also available as an Audible book as well. So, you know, absolutely cannot recommend this book highly enough. There is an older version as well, which has got a picture of a couple and their baby, but this is the latest copy updated of that book. So that is the first book on my go-to list. The next book that I really want to share with you is this one, Gentle Birth, Gentle Mothering. And this is a book written by Sara Buckley. And Sara Buckley is an Australian GP who has 4 children. And Sara is a research whiz. She absolutely loves looking at evidence behind things. She loves looking at the hormones that we produce during pregnancy, labour and birth. And just as a little idea of how much she loves research, that is the referencing section of the entire book. So it's very heavily evidence-based. But it's also written in a way that is very readable. It's very relatable, and it's in, you know, it's got a lot of everyday language, so it won't bamboozle you with medical jargon. She looks at the hormones that we produce during labour and birth. It looks at the environments that help produce those hormones. The lovely thing about this book as well is I know that a lot of parents who come to my courses are so focused on the birth. They are excited or nervous or whatever, but they're focused on the birth and forget that they're actually going to have a baby at the end of it and they're going to be parents. So this one bridges that gap between being pregnant and what to expect and the choices and options you've got there, but also into parenting as well. So it is a beautiful book, and you can find Sara Buckley on social media as well. She's got lots and lots of fantastic information about particularly about oxytocin. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that oxytocin is one of the key hormones that we produce during labour and birth, and that helps our contractions, our surges. But she's just done last year some more research looking at the difference between synthetic oxytocin and natural oxytocin, and the function of that during labour and birth, and also bonding with our baby as well. So for those of you who like listening to podcasts, there's a fantastic podcast called The Midwife's Cauldron, and there's an episode in there that talks to Sara Buckley, and she's talking about the new research that she's done and published this year about oxytocin. So that's another resource if you are not necessarily wanting to read stuff but you like listening to podcasts. The Midwife's Cauldron is a must listen. They are fantastic. Those podcasts are hosted by Rachel Reed, who until very recently was a midwife. She's now deregistered, but a midwife of many, many years, and Katie James. And those podcasts are just lovely to listen to. Not only do they cover so many different areas around pregnancy and labour and birth, but it's also really fun to listen to. So cannot recommend that highly enough. So that is Sara Buckley's Gentle Birth, Gentle Mothering, and the podcast is The Midwife's Cauldron. So that's the first book that I want to recommend. The next book that I really want to recommend, and I think that anybody who is pregnant or thinking about becoming pregnant should have a look at this book. It is a fantastic book by Sara Wickham. Sara without an H this time, Sara Wickham, and it's called In Your Own Time. Now, Sara Wickham is a research midwife in the UK. She's been clinical, she has been an independent midwife, but she's a research midwife. She's got a whole array of different books, and I'll highlight some of the other ones as well, but this is one of her latest books, and it is beautiful. It's a fantastic exploration of physiological birth and the importance of waiting for labour to start in its own time. Now, one of the things that we talk about a lot in my courses, my classes, when I'm doing teacher training, and pretty much everywhere, is talking about how prevalent induction of labour is, not just in the UK, but globally at the moment. Sara actually calls it an epidemic of induction of labour. Virtually everybody that I teach comes into contact with the idea of induction of labour. NICE guidelines changed around induction of labour as well in the last couple of years. So it is something that is a hot topic. Now, most other books, that the benefits of waiting. The benefits of waiting for physiological birth to begin by itself. And it's talking about the benefits to the baby, and the benefits to the mum or the birthing person as well. And then it looks at induction of labour when it's appropriate, some of the conversations that you might find around it, some of the reasons that might be given for induction of labour, and the sorry about that. As I mentioned earlier, I am in the middle of Wales and my internet connection is not particularly reliable. We're in temporary accommodation at the moment and it's trying its best. So I'm not sure where it left off, but I'm just going to pick up where I think it left off. So this is a really fantastic book. It's very readable. It is written with parents in mind. It's written with the conversations that you might find towards the end of pregnancy in mind, and some of the pressures that you might feel as a person who is approaching your labour and birth, your estimated due date, and some of those conversations and how you can deal with that. So I cannot recommend this book highly enough. It is fantastic. And then there are a whole bunch of other books by Sara Wickham, that same author, and they are brilliant. So for instance, we've got Group B Strep Explained. Now if you have, or if you find that Group B Strep is popping up in conversation or in appointments, this is a great go-to book. In the UK, we don't screen for Group B Strep routinely, and there's a whole bunch of reasons for that, and I'm not going to go into that here. We can have another conversation about that at another time. But if you find that there's Group B Strep in a test during your pregnancy, often you are given a particular course of action. And it's almost presented in a way that you will be having antibiotics during your labour. Now, if you try to go and find information about Group B Strep, so, you know, our go-to generally is Google, it is difficult to find middle of the road information. You will tend to find the extreme views either way when it comes to Group B Strep, because it is a very emotional topic. Now, this book is brilliant at cutting through that and looking at the sort of the central line, the more balanced line. And again, none of the books that Sara has created will tell you what you should or shouldn't do. It gives you information so that you can make choices that are right for you. And it's presented in a very balanced way as well. So there's Group B Strep, there's birthing your placenta, so thinking about your choices and options for how you want to birth your placenta. You've got things like vitamin K in the newborn, again, thinking about your choices and options. After your baby is born, you will be offered vitamin K, but what is it and how does it work and what choices have you got? Again, got great information in there. And you've also got things like Auntie D Explained. This is one of her newer books, so it's looking at another topic that you may find crops up during your pregnancy, labour and birth. And it's quite tricky to find balanced information, so that it's difficult to make an informed decision if you can't find those benefits and risks of a particular action and the benefits and risks of not doing that thing. So another fantastic book. The other thing about Sara Wickham as well is that she has a great website. So if you go to sarawickham.com, it asks if you want to sign up for a newsletter. Do it. She sends you information regularly, blogs and all sorts of different things. But in there you'll find a lot of useful free information as well. So, you know, if you're curious about vitamin K, for instance, or Auntie D, you can go and get some basic information there. And there's also the links for the books there as well. So you can buy all of Sara's books at sarawickham.com. Or you can go to Amazon and you can find those books there as well. So amazing books for finding information so you can make a fully informed decision about what is right for you during pregnancy and the birth of your baby. Now, another resource that is very helpful for parents is at the AIMS website. So AIMS is the Association for Improvement of Maternity Services. And if you go to aims.org.uk, you can find all sorts of information, but also they have got a number of different publications. This is one of my favourite ones as a go-to. So this one is the induction of labour, and as I mentioned earlier, a lot of books about induction of labour are looking at the pros and cons of induction of labour, and that's exactly what this book is. Pretty much any reason that you are given for an induction of labour, it'll be contained in this book. And then what it does is it looks at the evidence to support or not induction of labour in that circumstance. And it's got lots and lots of evidence in there. It's got lots of questions that you might want to ask. It's got food for thought. It's a great little go-to. The NICE guidelines say, you know, about induction of labour, that induction of labour has a large impact on the birth experience from, you know, for the mother or the birthing person and for the baby. So needs to be clinically justified. The tricky thing is working out what is clinical justification and what does that mean to me as an individual. And that's where this book is really useful, because whatever reason that you are being given, you can have a look. So if you're being told you need to have an induction because you've got a big baby, you can have a look and see what it says and see what the evidence says. Is this in your best interest? Is this in your baby's best interest? What are the alternatives? If you're being told you've got obstetric cholestasis and you think, oh my gosh, that definitely sounds clinical. So you can go and have a look and see what it says. What's the evidence? What do you want to do with that information? And so it's a really good way of navigating the information that is out there, the information that you're being given. It might give you some questions that you can ask your caregivers as well to make sure that you're getting information that is relevant for you. So that one's a great one to go to, and that one you can find on the AIMS website. So that's aims.org.uk. Now, another lovely resource is a publishing house called Pinter and Martin. Now, Pinter and Martin publish birthy books, and they've got all of these books, or a lot of the books that I'm mentioning are available there, and a whole host of other ones as well. But they've also got this lovely little sort of pocket collection of books, and there's I think 17 or 18 of these. Now if you've got a sort of a normal size book here, you can see that they're smaller than normal books, but they're actually jam-packed full of really useful information, and they're the Why It Matters series. So you've got, for instance, why caesareans matter, and why induction matters, and why human rights in childbirth matters, and they've got why breastfeeding matters, why the politics of breastfeeding matters, why mothering the mother matters. They've got a whole bunch of different ones, and a lot of it is condensed information. So again, you can have a look at these, and the idea is you can sort of dip in and dip out of them. They're great loo books as well, so if you're sitting on the loo you can just flick through and read a little bit here and there. But it's going to give you information so that you can make informed decisions about what's right for you and your body and your baby, so that you can have the birth that is right for you. Now, there are loads of books, really hundreds and hundreds of amazing books out there. One other book that I really want to just bring to your attention, and it is this book. It is Reclaiming Childbirth as a Rite of Passage. And I love this book. Absolutely love this book. It is available as an Audible, which is how I accessed it first. I loved it so much that my mum bought it for my birthday last year. So I've got a hard copy as well as the Audible copy. It is a fantastic exploration into why our systems are the way that they are. So our maternity systems are massively medicalised. We are risk averse, we are risk focused, and anybody who is pregnant at the moment, you cannot get away from that feeling of pressure to have a particular birth in a particular way, or a lot of us do feel in that way. So if you're in a mainstream sort of maternity system, that medicalisation is just hovering above us, if not, you know, pushing us into particular directions. But why? Why have we got to this place? How have we got to this point in time? This book looks at all of that. It looks at how our rites of passage as women have been eroded. You know, it looks at our periods, perimenopause, menopause, all of the different phases of life that once upon a time we would have celebrated and revered, we have eroded those. So it's a look at the history, which could seem quite doom and gloomy. However, it's also got how we can reclaim those rites of passage, how we can reclaim birth, and focus on physiology and bring it back to the fact that our bodies generally are really good at doing this birthing thing. We only have to look around and see that there's quite a few of us on the planet. We must be good at this birthing thing. So it is a beautifully written book. If you get the Audible version, it's also Rachel Reed reading it, so you get all the nuances of how she intended it to be received. And it is just lovely, a wonderful, wonderful book. And I don't just think that this is for pregnancy. I think everybody should read this book. I think everybody should have a copy of this book. I think everybody, you know, whether you're thinking of having children or not, whether you're pregnant or not, whether your partner is pregnant, I think everybody should have access to this book and the contents within, because when you understand why our system is the way it is, you are in a much better position to have conversations around your choices, your options, what is right for you. And so with that knowledge, we can have really good communication. We can seek out caregivers that are going to support us in the birthing choices that we want, that we have. So it is a really, really amazing, wonderful book. So go out and buy it. I'm not on commission for any of these books, by the way. I just love sharing these books because it is invaluable knowledge. And if you've got knowledge, if you've got understanding, then you are in a much better position to have the birth that is right for you, to have the pregnancy that's right for you, and to enter into your parenting journey in a positive, calm, confident way. So that is all that I'm going to cover on this occasion. There are millions of other ones, and I'll probably do another one of these looking at some of the other books that I absolutely love. If you're watching this on Catch Up on Instagram, pop in the comments which books you love and you love recommending. Or if you're pregnant at the moment and you've read a book that has inspired you or helped you, pop it in the comment. Just the one, in the comments, have a look at it. If you are a teacher or a birth worker or birth keeper watching this and you have got a favourite book that you love sharing with people, pop it in the comments below, because then this can be kept as a little library for pregnancy. So maybe what I'll do next time as well is look at birth partner books, because there are a whole bunch of amazing ones of those out there as well. So the sun keeps creeping in, which is really nice because it was very stormy earlier. So that is the end of my live at 5 today. Hopefully that's given you some ideas of the books that you can go out and buy and support those authors who are working tirelessly to try and help make sure that we can have great births. If you are interested in a full hypnobirthing course with me, we cover all sorts of information. We cover all sorts of books as well within the course. I have got online courses. Those ones I'm definitely running at the moment. I've just put up my dates until June next year, so feel free to go and have a look at my bio or my website, find the dates that you want to come to. And for those of you living in South Wales, keep a close eye on my grid, because I will be announcing my face-to-face courses very, very soon. If you want private classes as well, I can travel anywhere. So if you want me to come and do a course for you, I would be delighted to do that. And I'm also able to do one-to-one courses online as well at times to suit you. So Thank you very much for your attention. It's been lovely to see loads of you popping up, so thank you very much. And I will speak to you soon. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.